Hey everybody, it's Tim from the Liquid Courage podcast. I'm here to give you an update because we haven't posted a podcast episode here in September yet. I'm recording this on the 4th of September, so I don't feel like we're going to be too terribly late. With that being said, we won't be able to record basically until next weekend, which would be the 12th, 13th of September. So depending on how things roll, we'll probably have a pretty fast turnaround to get it to you the middle of the month. You know, I'm kind of dedicated to getting things to you guys as fast as possible at the beginning of a month. I think within the first 5 days is not unreasonable, but because we are running into many different things like illness, not anything serious. Here in Kansas, the weather is changing. It's going from being 90-degree days to 60-degree days next week. For me and Taylor, we're asthmatics. We both have very bad allergy problems. So it's just a fun time to be us. And the other day, we were losing our voices. So we kind of made this judgment call based on that. So we will be putting out a new episode next week, hopefully, if not the week of September 14th through the 18th in 2020. Just in case you're listening to this update in the year 2045 after we've gone bankrupt and you're trying to figure out where our descent into madness started, right here. Right at this episode. Don't look at any of the other ones. But we really appreciate all you guys talking to us on Twitter, on Facebook. We are on Twitter at liquid_podcast. We've been there. We'll be there for a long time. I watch it. Taylor watches it. Yeah. It's going to be good. We hope you guys are living well, being healthy, and being safe. We know right now is a crazy time, especially in the United States. If you're listening to us abroad, you're probably having your own problems here and there. We are watching the world burn from our back porches here in Kansas, which is pretty fun. I guess. But thank you. We really appreciate you guys listening. You appreciate you guys holding us accountable on Twitter and on YouTube as well. This update will be put on the front of episode 19 as it airs on YouTube. I'm still committed to putting out those YouTube videos at the middle of every month now. So other than that, thank you guys for listening. This has been a Liquid update. We'll have more stuff for you in the future that may or may not be courage related. We're going to try some stuff out here, especially if we start working from home a little bit more often or other things happen. So thank you guys. We appreciate you. And we will see you on the next episode, hopefully mid-September, if not early October. This is the Liquid Courage Podcast, a in-depth look at every episode of Courage the Cowardly Dog. On this episode, we check out Human Habitrail, Mission to the Sun, featuring Taylor, Tim, and Sheldon. Now here are your hosts.
Wow.
Oh, that's sick. I love it. I'm glad that you're rolling. You can talk about more body horror.
Oh, fuck.
Like there isn't any in this episode.
Suction cup hands, big feet, and free
Hi,
armpit.
everybody. Welcome back to the Liquid Courage Podcast. I'm Taylor. Tim's over there.
Hi!
And Sheldon's back there in the corner weeping to himself.
I sure am.
See? There you go. Welcome to fun things.
It's an episode of...
Yeah, welcome. Yeah, we've got things. We're 6 months into a global pandemic. It's real fun. I have a fun game for us to play between the two episodes this time. It'll be great.
Awesome.
The other two have not been briefed on this, so Tim's probably very worried as he edits the podcast, but it's fine.
Tim, it's okay. I'm also worried.
I was going to say, so not... Are you worried that I'm going to be worried during the edit, or are you worried that I'm worried now?
Both.
I can just imagine being sober, be like, Oh, now I'm shocked.
Fuck this shit.
I don't remember this.
Yeah, howdy, folks. Boy, oh, busy boy, there is some shit about in the world today, but we don't talk about that. We talk about a fun cartoon about a pink dog, and that's what we're gonna do.
That has the courage to deal with the atrocities he deals with.
Looky there, has the courage.
Yes. I'm clever sometimes.
You are. Sorry, I was taking a drink. I didn't want to just.
No, I thought it was just dramatic pause.
Yeah, it was one of those things of like, Sheldon just stopped talking, and I was like, "Well, fuck, this is gonna be weird." Here we are.
We are.
I'm currently taking a shot.
Where?
I did.
No, we're not getting paid yet.
Wow. Let me rephrase that. I'm a professional that put on this amateur podcast.
Until we get that sick Raycon money and Raid Shadow Legends sponsorship.
Man,
you don't listen to a lot of podcasts.
Raid Shadow Legends.
Until we're sponsored by Raytheon. Yeah, and the Koch brothers and other podcasts on our network.
I just want to think there's like an edgy like grandson of the Koch brothers. It's just like, you know what? I'm gonna funnel money into this.
Guess what? I don't want Coke money.
Yeah.
Man, then you've never had Coke money, have you?
You're right.
I've technically
they're horrible.
It all spends the same.
Yeah, you're not wrong at the end of the day. But that was a fun existential crisis we just went into. Let's have another one now when we talk about the first episode of this very fun round of shows of episode 18, which is the Human Habitrail.
Hey Taylor, I've got a question for you.
Sure.
Do you have a fetish?
Boy, we don't do that here. We're not a BDSM podcast.
Courage thinks we are.
But boy, oh boy, did Courage the Cowardly Dog want you, yes you, young and impressionable viewer, to think about parts of bodies like you never have before.
Son, do you...
Wow,
do you
okay.
Like feet?
So I'm going to go ahead and do a real quick summation of this so then we can talk about how fucking weird this is.
So can we, before we do that, remember on the very first episode when we talked about episodes that we remember, this is a specific episode that I remember.
You don't say, Tim.
Yeah, I
said it
why.
like 5 times. What? What the fuck you trying? I don't remember that part. I just remember it's a small world after all.
I just remember the cool, fun gerbil song.
I just remember the fun gerbil song.
And
personally, I remembered the exploding armpits.
Yeah,
never been able to get it.
See, the minute I clicked into what this episode was when Courage got in the tunnel, and I went, "Oh, now I remember." And yeah.
And then the feet expanded, and you went, "Oh, now I remember."
Yeah. So, excuse us, dear listener. We're a little bit all over the place on this one. That's just how this goes. This one's pretty easy to kind of go out. So the first part is essentially there's a whole bunch of dust in the bag house. In fact, there's so much dust that Courage puts on a gas mask for comedic effect, which now that image of Courage wearing a gas mask is being used all around in 2020 in some cities. It's very fun.
If it's not a meme, make it a meme.
And
we should make it a meme. I might do
that. Tim's gonna get a call from Homeland Security.
Can't make this worse than it is.
And so there's all this dust, and Muriel's just kicking up more dust, and there's so much dust that you can see the dust hanging in the air. And it's with all of this dust that we hear a knock at the door. And who be there but a little pink gerbil with a little vacuum. And oh boy, does the fun pick up from here. And right off the bat,
hello there.
Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and say this. Tim, who voices the gerbil?
Of course, it is the almighty Dilworth.
So, hey, John. Good job.
Wait, hold
Hey,
on.
Dilworth.
According to the Wikipedia.
According to the wiki. So, you take constructive criticism, Dilworth?
Hey, John. Fucking, you did it. Scared me. Didn't like it. Didn't like the
No,
voice.
maybe that was the point.
You're probably never going to be hired to like tell stories to kids, but you don't need to. You do your job just fine.
Turns out, very spooky. 10 out of 10. Very did not like. Thank you.
This
Made
vacuum is so
that voice coupled with just like everything else that happens in the episode
the
just
unblinking stare of the
just
gerbil.
made me so very upset on so many levels. Like there was something about that just
This episode was uncomfortable, and you know what? That's fine.
Yeah, and I don't know. IMDb can't corroborate that that's John Dilworth, but I'll take the wiki. But
how much of the Courage wiki is actually filled out? Courage IMDb is actually filled out.
True, but I'm just if that's you, John.
Shout out, John.
You did it. You did the spooky thing. Thank you.
You did the thing.
And so it's halfway through. You forget that it's all about a vacuum.
It is about a vacuum, isn't it?
But that's the thing, is that this gerbil shows up to sell Muriel and Eustace a vacuum, and he asks them a series of questions. And my favorite part is as he's asking the series of questions about the amount of dust they pick up, the very last question is, and do you live out in the middle of nowhere, very, very far away from any police or law enforcement?
Any police?
Which is good.
They get asked that all the time, actually.
And when Courage is, while this is happening, he hears a voice come from the vacuum cleaner about get me out of here, and Courage of course gets very freaked out, but the gerbil, wasting no time, just sucks
now
up
that
Muriel
you've
and Eustace.
signed the contract,
Yeah,
I will take your bodies as well as your souls.
the blood deal is sealed. And so he is sucked into, or Muriel and Eustace are sucked into the bag of this vacuum. Courage explodes, and then the gerbil says one of the most unsettling lines,
You're free.
which is, "You're free now."
Free from what?
I guess from ownership. I have no idea.
But
yeah.
It's like, but he literally just enslaved them, basically.
Well, he enslaved Eustace and Muriel. He didn't enslave Courage.
Oh, was he talking to Courage there? Yeah. I thought he was just doing kind of a soliloquy, or like speaking to the audience, or just to the environment. You're
Good question. Now. I don't know, because Courage exploded.
I'm just gonna start putting that into random conversations.
That's even better too. I forgot that, because Courage is all in pieces, and he's talking to the pieces of Courage.
You're free now.
You're free now.
So and then the gerbil just gets to his car and drives away, and Courage chases him, and
like a real dog.
Then the gerbil gets to his little hidey hole, and that's where the real meat of the episode takes place, is in this here hidey hole.
But first you have to split the lint.
Yeah, inside the bag, Muriel and Eustace run into a crazy woman who's trying to split the lint, and this fucking episode was just...
We covered so much ground in this episode.
It's just so much.
I disagree.
And Courage, so they go to this underground, and it ends up being a laboratory, and he takes the crazy lady into the back room and gives her suction cup hands, and you're like, and feet, and you're like, that's weird, but on par. Yeah. And you're still unsettled by the whole voice thing. And then he goes, "You two are going to be my perfect specimens," and begins and walks away. And then Courage runs into Suction Cup Lady and asks if he's seen him. And he's like, "Yeah, that way." And then there's like a weird frame of her kind of running, but not really. It was a weird frame. I caught it. And
it was like, what the fuck was that movement?
And then they're like, he's in there. And Courage runs down this hallway. And okay, so I'm going to split up the next part of this conversation. I'm going to talk about. I'm going to talk about what courage goes through first, and then we're going to talk about the other thing.
You can tell it's more important because he calls it the other thing.
So courage finds a boat and then goes through a water ride akin to A Small World at Disneyland or World.
That is exactly what they're referencing to.
Yes. And in it, it's creating a song of Dr. Gerbil's. Oh God, it's such a fucking earworm that if you actually paid attention to it, it would bore into your head.
It already has.
As a child,
blocked it out. Oh, it's the world of Dr. It's Dr. Gerbil's world. And it's just going through all of Dr. Gerbil's stuff. And courage, like any sane person, slowly loses his mind as that goes through, and you see him dealing with it as that goes on. And there's like toothpaste and all this other stuff. It's pretty innocuous and not bad compared to you're a dirty man, Sheldon. So the listeners know, I believe I have the 10-hour mix of Dr. Gerbil's world now. So thanks, bud.
Nice. Someone already beat us to it.
I was wondering. I was going to ask for it, but I didn't have.
The courage shitposting community is on par. Let me tell you,
it's real high.
I need to see if I can find that community if it exists.
And see, the reason again that we're talking it like that, because that part of the episode, nothing happens. That's just it.
It's like, hey, this is stuff and things.
Yeah, but it's just like that's that whole part that he goes through, and it's just like, oh, it's weird and annoying. Eventually, he sees the laboratory, and now we're gonna go back to the other thing that we're gonna talk about. Okay.
All right.
So, hey, everybody, if you are I don't know how to phrase this without sounding terrible.
Okay, Taylor. Right behind you.
So if you are now a grown adult and you have certain things that really get you going,
and you can't figure out the origin of them, maybe it's Space Jam for some of you. Maybe it's,
totally Spies for the others.
Totally Spies for another group. Maybe it's, other cartoons like Who Framed Roger Rabbit.
And they tried hard on that one.
Maybe it's Courage the Cowardly Dog, because there's an entire sequence where, man, they hit on a whole lot of pretty close, if not dead-on, fetish material. And the fuck, guys?
Inflation? Feet? Fruit? What's your fetish?
Inflation, body horror. There's some. Thank God there was no vor.
That's before.
Technically, the vacuum sucked them up into its stomach. If we get really into the thought,
there's something here for everyone.
But that part, I stopped talking because I went, that's really close to just
guys,
kind
that's
of
real.
Upsetting. Like, I'm not, a prude. You do you with whatever you want to do.
Bringing up all this kind of sounds like we're kind of prudish.
Oh
no.
No! It's the fact that it's in a cartoon.
It's the fact that it's a cartoon that we all watch. That I forgot about that part, and I went, man, as an adult, that's an interesting scene. And I think part of it is because in the new 2020s, everyone's pretty hyper aware of everything like that because we're being more open about life and equality and sexuality and things like that, just in general.
To be fair, as a kid, you'd look at it and go like, oh man, big feet.
That's funny and weird. But also, that was a lot in a short period of time. And yeah, it took me aback, and I was
not asking it to be changed. It's just, wow, how did I not notice that?
Yeah, how was that? How did I miss that part? But here I am. So there's that. And there's a lot of things that go on. Like he feeds them, just so we're clear, he feeds them some stuff that makes them get bigger. He gives them some stuff that makes their feet grow. He gives them
stuff to make them smaller.
He already did that. He gave him stuff to make them bald.
Them up in the vacuum and they became small.
Alice
he never made them small.
Yeah. He put deodorant on Eustace and made his armpit explode cactus. He put lipstick on Muriel and made her lips massive. And then they exploded. Doc Gerbil's a bad doctor.
Nothing I can do.
And yeah, it's weird. And then he makes them into batteries and shoves them into a flashlight with, feet head to feet scenario.
Come on, we've all seen The Matrix. We know that humans are good batteries.
I mean, if you think about it, Taylor, you put batteries into a flashlight head to feet.
Yeah, I never thought about my batteries. Never mind.
You never thought about your batteries sexually?
I never think about batteries anymore since the war.
And then Courage finally sees this and he becomes an aerosol. He jumps to a big aerosol can, goes into the laboratory and rescues them by sucking them back up into the vacuum, and then runs away with this. There's also a scene at the end of this, which you guys remember, where I guess it's not the end. It's like the falling action.
It's the penultimate. Yeah. It's like the escape scene.
Well, there's the escape scene, but right before the escape scene, you have Courage using a big deodorant to like stop Doc Gerbil from getting to him. And in doing that,
wait a minute.
Courage puts on the deodorant as well, and then his armpits explode.
You know what? As you were mentioning it, I was going to ask, okay, so he puts the deodorant on the ground to make like an oil slick thing.
Yep.
Why did he use the deodorant to explode his armpits?
I don't know. Why would he put it on?
Yeah, it did. Yeah, they just wanted to make sure you saw that body horror, right?
Yeah.
Like, because I just started thinking, like, that didn't help with the escape at all.
And then bubbles fall into the little river that's in this underground area, and then we have a boat chase set to operatic music and little to no any like sound effects other than Courage making noise. Why?
You'd think it was the series finale.
You would think that would be something that would be noted somewhere on, like, I don't know, a thing that like gets a bunch of information about TV shows that people like, and people like submit stuff and look things up and put it on there so other people can know that.
Oh,
so
I know what that site is.
Look about that. And yeah,
it's the Mr. Science Theater website.
There's nothing on anything. You look it up and they're like, no idea. I don't know why they did that. They just apparently did. And that's
it's art, motherfucker.
And it's art, I guess. But why? Why was that the choice? In, hey, we're gonna do this fun boat chase with no sound effects.
Just
Nothing.
opera.
That was weird. So, like,
it makes it more intense,
It does. It's actually very artistic. I'll give them that.
But it's super artistic.
But is it referencing a movie? Is it? It just doesn't
that
make
I
any
can
sense.
think of.
Yeah, like the only thing I can think of is like a gangster movie, like The Godfather. But
it's Face Off. Come on, guys.
You know what? I forgot about that. There you go. Nuts.
I just want to know why.
John Woo was in charge of the ending of this movie.
Like that one.
So, and like
just
it from a technical standpoint, like, yeah, it's easy to go out and make these sound effects. But it could have been that this episode was so rushed, they were just like, fuck it, throw opera music there. And then they looked at it and like, well, that actually kind of worked. We'll just keep it.
Yeah, we need something to put here until we get the sound effects. Somebody put opera and they went, you know what, Dilworth walked in and went like, who made this decision? I did, sir.
It's just a placeholder. He goes,
You're
nope.
promoted.
You're now head
was
writer.
Rad.
Come in here, Cohen.
Yeah, it's just one of those things where I went,
It's
what?
It's weird. And like at first when we heard it, I was like, is there a copyright issue? But like so opera would be a good thing to go against copyright because anything made before like 1910 under current copyright laws is completely free.
No one cares about opera anymore.
Well, no one cared about opera in the 1910s.
Well, it's only gotten worse with time.
Yeah, but I'm just again this whole episode was just like a continued trip down just the weird, which is
this
fucking
rabbit hole
good.
keeps going deeper and deeper.
Because that's the type of stuff that you like from the Courage. We've talked about the other episodes that have been pretty mundane, that aren't the most fun. And so this one is very fun. It's one of those things where I was like, is it gonna keep getting wow, it just keeps going.
No,
it's one of those moments of like, well, okay, so we're gonna have like a chase, but it'll be like the funny chase. It'll be like, haha, we did the funny chase scene. That was kind of just a real chase scene. Like that was just kind of intense and odd. And I was like, there wasn't any wacky antics in that chase scene at all.
I'm going to get you, Sister Muriel, back to perform experiments on them with my little salad clippers.
Yeah. And then the episode ends with Courage using the vacuum to pull to the side as the gerbil's boat goes over a cliff. He survives. He laughs at the bottom.
As cartoons would.
And then we're back to Muriel and Eustace's house where they're big again for some reason, even though the vacuum shrunk them before. I guess when you pick up big things, it shrinks them, but when you kick out
small things, it enlarges.
Things, it enlarges them. Which
out of everything
sense.
They've expressed here, they did not express how that magical vacuum works.
Yeah. And then we have Lint Lady in Eustace's soup again, and that's the episode.
Boy,
there was so much that happened in such a short period of time. And I don't really know.
This episode smacks you and makes you go, you paying attention? You paying attention?
Hey, did you see what happened there? Did you see the cactus coming out of his fucking arms?
It's one of those episodes.
Be a test later, motherfucker.
It is one of those episodes where if you look away, it's not gonna be easy for you to understand what happened.
I mean,
I was paying attention, and I don't even understand.
When I was a kid, I distinctly remember watching TV and rolling around the channels, and I've seen this episode a couple times. I spaced out that it was the same episode. Because I remember the Doc Gerbil's world stuff, and I don't remember the laboratory scenes, but I remember that part, and I also remember the chase scene.
The
first time for some reason that was part of my brain was just like, I remember that he had them as small and he did stuff. I didn't remember anything specific after that. But like, I remember rolling around the channel and ending up on Cartoon Network with just the final boat chase scene.
Right.
And I was literally thought, because I had like, there's issues before with TV. We don't really see it these days, but where sometimes channels would sometimes get the wrong audio for some reason, like they just broadcast the wrong audio.
Oh my god, Cartoon Network was so bad with that.
Yeah,
there are a ton of examples. Like there's an example, and I was watching it too, and I was confused. The first time for Cartoon Network that I knew about it and I watched it was like at 4:00 in the morning. They were playing some animated film, but instead they got it mixed up with like AMC or like Turner Classic Movies or something.
Yeah,
probably Turner Classic Movies, I would say. And you were getting the audio from a war movie on top of that, and you're just hearing gunfire and people fucking dying. It's a very gruesome one.
Yeah, and I don't know why that happens, but it's and I don't think it happens as much anymore.
I do know why it happens, actually.
Why does it happen?
So
and on the AMC, you're getting It's Doc Gerbil's World.
They might have been getting something crazy. That would have been funnier, to be totally honest. So how it works is that TV stations have something called a master control operator. And what they do, they're the people that sit there, they watch the show. Like, they're not part of a production. They're not part of, like, anything like that. They're waiting for the show to go to a break so they can plug in the newest commercials.
So like are they like the ones that are like plugging in your local commercials and stuff? Or
yep,
okay.
They're local, and then they also talk to, because every master control in an area talks to the bigger master control for the network that they work for, right?
Yeah.
So CBS, when I worked at a CBS news station, their master control operators there would have to talk to the CBS people. They'd be like, all right, these are the national ads coming in the next break. And then you have your own local ads that you plug in there, because they give you time for local ads in every break, and et cetera, et cetera. They also record all your stuff for news. Like, if they work in a news station environment or something like that, they record all the, like, local things that's talking about, hey, coming up next, it's Courage the Cowardly Dog, or shit like that.
Yeah.
They do all of that too. And they have to plug that in. And they specifically, like, have to measure the audio. So sometimes the audio comes in from an editor or production house, and it might be too loud, it might be too quiet. It may not be normalized, which means the audio stays at one level no matter what, even if it's like screaming or whispering.
Gotcha.
So they have to be the ones to ride that and figure that all out and make sure they're basically making sure it comes through to your TV correctly.
Yeah.
I may have just gone on a huge explanation there. Sorry.
No, that's okay. That's fine. So that happened, and in my neck of the woods, it happened a lot.
Yeah, it happens a lot here in Kansas. It really
and I literally just assumed that Cartoon Network was broken, and that well,
but nay, small Taylor, it's
and
actually working fine.
No,
yeah,
boy.
Well, that's the thing. And then, like, Courage would make a noise, and I'd be like, wait, what? And then, like, the scene was over, and we're back to normal. And I just was like, I don't know what happened. And that feeling still persists when I go, I still don't really know what happened, but wow, that was an artistic choice we did, huh, guys? One of the only things I could find on that particular thing was a Reddit post from somebody from quite a while ago, which was just, here's the boat scene from the gerbil episode, but without the pretentious music in the background. And I was like, that guy's jaded.
They went in and they added the actual sound effects that should have been in there.
Yeah, so
without the pretentious music.
I just now found it, and I just thought it was a very funny title of a post.
That is funny. Is that the Courage subreddit?
It was not actually. It was just on a random one, and I don't really know why, but it was just there. Some guy was real mad, I'm sure.
Sounds like he was mad.
But yeah, and so Doc Gerbil is a fucking character that I don't like but love, but he scares me.
Yeah. Honestly, like, he's up there compared to the other villains we've dealt with in this series. He should have been in the episode where all the villains come together. He should have been.
He's not. He's one of the few that are not included.
It's funny that you bring that up, because he is not in any of those episodes, and this is his only appearance ever.
Yeah.
Damn it. You're free now.
Yeah, it's so, like, it was such a weird thing. Like, this episode hit so many different ways, and I'm just, like, confused, and...
Is this an allegory for Dilworth freeing the slaves?
No.
I'm sorry?
Probably.
Is that looking too far into this?
Courage the Cowardly Dog podcast is not responsible for anything that it's on air. It's on air personalities say. Yeah, that was. I just don't. That episode fucking. That's again. It's one of those things where this is such a good fucking A episode. Like, it hit me so hard that I was like, okay. All right. Well, I think I'll see what happens for my next one.
This roller coaster already gave me its best. Let's see what happens.
So there's that. I'm ready to rate it.
Dude,
So here,
I don't
let
even
me-
know what I'm gonna give it.
So let me jump into the trivia before you go.
Okay.
So there's
Yeah,
not
read that
much
one.
trivia. Yeah, there's two things here, but there's also a comment on the bottom that I would like to talk about as well. The trivia is this is the first time that Muriel goes bald. The second time is in the next episode, Mission to the Sun.
Did she go bald in that episode, or did we get
She-
a weird
she
fucking
did.
like tadpole
She
head?
does go
She-
bald.
she
She does
grows-
go bald.
She goes bald, but she grows the beard.
And then she gets her hair right back.
There is a cultural reference and parody in this as well. Obviously, we talked about the boat rides music. It's a parody of "It's a
Yeah.
Small World."
Yeah.
No.
And,
Yeah.
and again, pretty easy if you've ever seen that.
You've
I've never
ride.
been to
It's a
Disney
Small
World.
World.
Oh,
but-
really? It's in Land too. You know.
Well,
So
I mean,
pick one.
I knew about it even when I was young, though. It's such a cultural
Yeah.
thing. It's
And if you've ever had the Disney like VHS tapes that had the
Yeah.
sing-alongs, it was like in 3 or 4 of those too. I think that's probably not true, but it's definitely in at least one of them.
I definitely heard it when I was younger and knew what it was.
Oh, yeah.
So,
Are you gonna?
I've always
read,
hated.
You want to read the comment on
I'm
the
not going to read
fandom
the
page?
whole comment.
Oh, I'll read the whole comment. This dude's
All
my
right.
fucking favorite.
Yeah. It's put on there
so
June 8th, by the way.
June 8th, by the way. So this is fairly new. If it's the same June 8th.
Yeah, we have no idea to know what year.
Yeah, they don't. I
They
don't
don't
think
put year on there.
yeah, so
I tried
maybe
looking it up,
it was
so.
a while ago, but so some guy named Berserk 73
All right.
just
Good
wrote
start.
this. He wrote a good paragraph of a comment. I just thought I'd throw in my 2 cents. A moderator should confirm with Dilworth, which I love that. First off, I'm gonna pause. I love the idea that there's the moderators of the Courage fandom have a straight line to the creator of the show, or whoever wrote this episode. Again, David, you want to help him out, Mr. Cohen? Because apparently we need to have a direct line to you. Actually, we could probably tweet at him. Who wrote this episode? But I'm guessing that Dr. Gerbil is also. Oh man, I didn't even read the whole fucking thing. I thought this dude
Yeah.
was just complaining about Dilworth's name.
That's
or
why I
Dilworth
was
not being in it.
gonna...
Oh my god, this
Paraphrase
gets so
it.
much better. All right, I
Yeah.
gotta. Okay. But I'm gonna guess that Dr. Gerbil is also a reference to the infamous Nazi scientist Dr. Joseph Goebbels, which he put Goebbels in quotations, which is not right. Also, it's Goebbels. It's a fun German pronunciation.
It's okay.
Which sounds like gerbil in English. If gerbil were pronounced with a hard G sound.
Wait, gerbils. I don't know how to do with soft.
Do
Jason.
go on. I'm
Yeah.
enraptured, please.
Not to mention the obvious parallels between animal experimentations on humans, Eustace and Muriel, when in reality, animals are used for experimentations on human products before their consumption in many cases. And the one person responding to him is a very long name that I'm not going to read, but you can go see it yourself. He just writes, and he's accurate. He goes, Joseph Goebbels was a politician, not a scientist. You might be thinking of Joseph Mengele, which is my favorite historical, like, kind of like bitch slap. Like, shut the, you don't know what you're talking about, dude.
Yeah, you didn't do any
And-
research.
You just walked in and you're like, those names sound similar. Type. But again, I love the idea that that the person who runs this fandom page or the moderators is going to get in touch with Dilworth and say, hey, did you voice the gerbil? And also, is Dr. Gerbil actually a Nazi?
Based off of Dr. Mengele.
The irony of his second part of that comment, like where he's like, not to mention the parallels between animal
Yeah.
experimentation.
I mean, I think
Experimentation.
that's
He doesn't say experimentation. He says experimenting.
Oh my god, he does say experimenting. I'm too smart for reading fandom
Yeah.
comics.
typographical error. Level
Yeah.
1.
Wait, not to mention the obvious parallels between an animal experimenting on humans, when in reality animals are used for experimentation on human products. That's a bad. That one's bad.
Yeah, it's just grammarly. He could have said that way easier and way.
Guys.
But hey, no. The whole point of this episode, even when he mentions like to Courage, you're free now, is that kind of thought process where it's like, oh, we use animals to experiment.
Animals are our slaves. They'll never be any different.
Yeah, we use mice to test like hair products and shit, or goats.
I say as I feed my dog for the 5th time today.
That's the whole point of this episode. Like, that's not something that's like to be contested.
Yeah, it's also I was gonna say it's not really a. It also could be this. It's kind of like, well, no, it
is.
It's pretty clear that was kind of the joke.
That was the whole joke. Yeah. So.
I fucking love when people comment on fandoms because they're always the best.
I love coming back to this fandom and seeing episodes that we had just watched being updated, which scares me a little bit.
Somebody's watching.
If you're out there updating fandoms, good for you.
Thank you, man. Yeah, appreciate it.
If you're Berserk 73, read more history.
That is all the trivia. There's nothing.
He's a fan of Berserk, and he was born in '73.
By the way,
$10 says he wasn't.
If you didn't get any of this episode, the main plot is that Gerbil has a cosmetic line.
Yeah,
he's experimenting on humans instead of animals. So
yes, that is the joke.
That is the catch-22. You could say.
I don't know. You know what Catch-22 means?
Catch-22 is a reference to the book by Joseph Heller, Catch-22, in which that a bomber in a
I think we've done
plane. We have
a whole episode called Catch-22.
We do, in a plane who wants to stop bombing and wants to stop getting shot at by Germans. And so to do that, he has to go to a doctor, and the doctor has to declare he's insane. But if he says that he's insane, the doctor says you're not insane because no insane person will ever say that you're actually insane. But I have to tell you that you're insane. But I can't tell you you're insane until you come to me to ask me to tell me that you're insane. So therefore, I can't give you the Section 8 to get out of the military and discharged, because if you tell me you're insane, you're not insane. But I can only tell you you're insane if you come to me and say that you think you're insane. But by saying that you think you're insane, you're not insane. It's Catch-22, and then there's a whole book. There's a whole book about the horrors of war.
And then they become a ska band.
And then they break up and become another ska band.
Yeah, and then they make an album, which is just their first album.
The lead singer leaves the band and then starts another band and does the same album from Catch-22
and then he
with
changes,
his new band.
And then he changes his own name to Toe K.
That's the funniest fucking ska drama ever. Is the drama between Catch-22 and that other band.
Streetlight Manifesto.
There it is. I couldn't remember him. When I first did that, I was listening to... That was the weirdest thing. So, one more aside. I was listening to Catch-22, and then Streetlight Manifesto came on, and it was playing this album I just listened to from Catch-22 by Streetlight Manifesto. I thought that I was living through a Mandela effect right there. I thought that right then, suddenly, the world diverged, and Catch-22 never existed. And that this was just... No, it's like a newer album from this band. I'm like, what the fuck is happening?
It doesn't help that it's the first album that Streetlight, or it's the second album that Streetlight Manifesto put out.
Yeah, and it's just like, what happened? Why did you do that?
So yeah, it's there's so much on. I can make a whole podcast about Streetlight Manifesto and how they flipped a big middle finger to their fucking record companies and shit.
Yeah, and also their friends.
And a lot of other people.
Yeah, I give the Human Habitrail. I give it 4.5 suction cups out of 5.
Oh, you went soft. I'm gonna give it 4.5 out of 5. Exploding lips.
All right.
You should have called them DSLs, Tim.
There it is.
Well, they're not anymore. They explode.
The explosion makes it.
No, okay, is that
I
the
hate this
ending?
episode. I don't want to make a. I don't want to make a podcast anymore.
Is that where you think the climax is at? All right.
Honestly, you guys took the good one, so I'm just gonna say.
We're still
I'm just gonna
exploding
say
guesses.
4.5. 4.5 lints out of 5.
Oh,
I
that's a
like
good
this
one.
episode.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Make
this-
sure it's your lint. All right.
Yes.
Now it's time for a fun game that we're gonna play before the next episode.
I'm ready to play. Do I need my point card?
No, you don't. Welcome everybody. You can play along at home. This is a fun game where I say it's like 2 truths and a lie, except for it's 2 real fan fictions and 1 I made up right now.
I need another drink. Hold on.
Oh yeah.
And all I am going to do is read synopsis of
Oh,
fan fictions I have found.
Sure.
And I am going to then have you, my dear compatriots, try to guess.
You don't get that word by putting us through this torture. That's not your word anymore.
Well, you know, it's funny because like I haven't found. I'm still diving through the depths of the archive, and I'm still trying to find some of the
All right.
I guess worse ones or weirder ones. I don't know. But we'll see what I can get a hold of. It turns out the fanfic community for Courage is either harder to get into,
Subpar.
or is just really trying to write episodes of Courage badly.
You mean
online.
most fan fictions?
Yes. So
Is there a
now hold on,
theory?
boys and girls. I think you all should keep writing because writing
Yes.
leads to things. You
keep
know,
writing, and if you, if any of you, some of these are pretty new. If you hear this and you are part of the fan fiction community, please shoot us a DM over at our Twitter
Send
at
us- send us your
liquid_podcast.
Oh my god, make us into a fan fiction for Courage.
no,
And-
no, please don't do
No,
that.
I don't want that. But if you can find me the good one, just shoot us links into our DMs.
I will be your auto. You could use me out of all 3 of us. That would be so awesome.
Tim's
You
just
can
gonna show up
insert
in a
Tim as
fan
your
fiction.
OC.
Oh, that'd be so fucking
right.
cool.
All right, so I have
Okay.
I've got a few in front of me. So I'm going to read you 2 real ones
Okay.
and 1 that I have made up.
This isn't gonna be a trick one where they're
Okay.
all real, is it?
No, I thought about doing that to you and I decided not to.
That's usually
Okay,
how
so,
that goes.
yes.
Because it's one of those things where you're just
Um,
thinking so hard, but all of a sudden they're all real. Yep, even the one about the dick.
All right, so here's the first one. It is titled "When He's Down." It's a Freaky Fred driven
All right.
fanfiction.
Okay.
Freaky Fred and Barbara are a young couple in love, living their romantic life with little care. But one day, Fred has a depressive episode. I shouldn't have laughed. Has a depressive episode, and although Barbara attempts to comfort him, this might be the day he finally becomes naughty. Basically, Barbara takes care of Fred when he's down. Naughtiness and softness ensue. Very soft.
Whoa.
Extremely softness. Most softness.
Okay.
I can only get so hard.
This is one of those fucking things where sadly I think it's real, mostly because you had to giggle when you talked about
you
it.
didn't write that. You didn't write that.
You've definitely never seen me writing D&D campaigns.
It was
I
one of those
laugh
things
all
where
the
it's like
time.
as you were reading it, you're like,
All right. Here's the next one, in which it is entitled "A Vampire Comes to Town." Now, I will tell you, I'm reading all of them.
Yeah.
Like even the one that I've made up, I have it in front of me and I'm reading it, so
All
it's
right.
just in front of me. A vampire comes to nowhere. A weird news report about people being found in their homes as pale as writing paper and frozen stiff in paralysis. Courage is concerned. And the next day, a stranger comes to Eustace and Muriel's house, covered in scarves, wrappings, and trench coats, asking for refuge from the sun. There is something fishy about this stranger arriving in nowhere, and it's up to Courage to figure him out.
What was the name of the guy again? Did it say?
The name of the what?
The antagonist.
There is no name. The name of the story is A Vampire Comes to Nowhere.
Vampire, okay.
It's Edward calling it now.
So before we decide on that one, let's hear the third one, because I have this distinct feeling that the fan fictions on Courage are a little bit more in your face.
Weird.
And if you were going to write one about a vampire, I feel like you wouldn't try to be as in our face.
Well, again,
this is actually Taylor coming out about his fan fiction.
These are just synopses.
Yes.
They are the first blurbs on fanfiction.net.
So this is what Taylor's writing fanfiction for Courage, and he's just kind of throwing it at us to see if anybody would.
Which one of these should I post?
These are all his. Okay.
All right. Give us the last one then.
All right. The last one is called A Fishbowl of Problems. Okay.
I'm sorry, I don't mean to.
No, it's a fishbowl of problems. Courage, Muriel, and Eustace are sitting in their home in nowhere when a mysterious package appears on the porch. When Muriel opens it, she finds a cute little fish inside, in its tank. She brings it inside. Eustace is unamused and says that he's going to throw it out. We then see Courage inspecting the tank when the fish glints an evil smile. What's that fish up to? Is what Courage will think, and soon strange things begin happening and disappearing around the house. Eventually, Eustace is gone, with only red water left in the fish tank's place. It's up to Courage to save the day. That's the blurb.
All right, I'm going to tell you my votes for the vampire one is the one that you made up.
Okay.
I am going to second that, although I feel like Taylor is a little more articulate than we're going to give him credit for.
No.
You're both wrong, because the third one was the one I made up.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
You fucking got that fan fiction writing spot on, then.
I know, I channeled it real hard.
Because I'm going to tell you, I was like, the second one actually sounds like it was written by...
I had a feeling the third one was you just because it was written so well. And, like, there was not just, like...
The third one was not written well.
The third one was bad.
Oh, let me rephrase this.
The fishbowl of whatever it was. I forgot the title already.
Yeah, but like it had like blood in the water and shit like that, which is
taglines.
But that's why I thought for sure that was written by a young up and coming fan fiction writer.
I don't know, because the Courage style isn't about being over the top with blood and gore. Blood. Let's just say.
But fan fiction is.
That's very true.
Like
I'm sorry,
like
I'm not
Taylor,
up on
Taylor
my
got
reading.
me.
I'm not
Guess
up on
what?
my reading.
I am.
Fan fiction.
But,
there was a time.
There you go. Yeah, no, I thought that would be stupid and fun.
I like
So I'll dive more into some of these. I will say A Vampire Comes to Nowhere, not terrible, you know. Gonna be honest. The two that I read, the Vampire Comes to Nowhere was written by someone called Subject 24. And the other one that I read is
not Eustace.
This is from When He's Down, was written by someone named Friendly Frat Boy.
Oh boy.
Which I was not.
I didn't know Tuna wrote fanfiction.
Yeah, no shit, right? I was not expecting that name when I was flipping through fanfiction. I was like, oh shit. Weird name. I gotta figure it out. He writes a whole pose at the beginning of or prose at the beginning of that one. It's kind of interesting, but there you go.
Tell us which one you'd like to hear on air.
Yeah, tell us, or send your favorite to the @liquid_podcast.
Or if you'd like to hear Taylor write a fan fiction for you.
No,
not for you.
If you would like Taylor to read your fan fiction,
Again, send it to the Liquid Courage
Send it to the
podcast.
Liquid Courage.
Oh God.
Oh, it was just one of those things where I was like, I'm gonna do that game. I've been working on a stupid little game, and I wrote a bad blurb, and I went, I wonder if they can figure it out.
Nope.
Yeah. So we'll see if we bring that segment back next week.
We'll see.
The next episode has much more plot, I think, Well, I think it has less plot than... No more? I don't know. What do you guys think?
It's about the same, man. That episode went places.
So this episode that we're going to talk about now is Mission to the Sun. Also, you might have noticed that we haven't really talked about writers in a while. Mostly due to the fact that David Stephen Cohen has picked up the writing for Courage by this point.
Most of this is just him.
And so if we haven't talked about a writer in a while, it's probably because it's David Cohen. You can kind of assume that at this point.
Was the last episode Bauer?
No, it was Cohen too.
It was Cohen, right?
Yep. Pretty much by second season, it's mostly Cohen. Okay. If not all, I can't confirm it's all at this point because I'm not gonna go look at things. But we have Mission to the Sun, and it'll be fun.
And then we'll be done.
In this episode, it's kind of interesting because it starts off as just a normal day on the farm, and they receive mail that they get to possibly go on a little trip. And they go listen to a timeshare presentation.
And who hasn't gotten those mails? I mean,
I never have, actually.
Really?
I've never gotten an email for it. I've never gotten physical mail for it.
Right behind the jury duty notices, man.
Yeah, I was gonna say I've got a couple.
But I've never served on jury duty. Never been summoned for jury duty.
Lucky.
That fucking man, it sucks.
Yeah.
Especially people there.
Oh yeah. But
poor bastard on the stand has to deal with me who's like, fucking send him away. Let's just go home.
Good to know. Sheldon is the one guy in 12 Angry Men that has baseball tickets and doesn't care what happens.
No, obviously that's an exaggeration. I didn't do that.
That's a reference for the 4 people that have watched 12 Angry Men.
I was gonna say, like, I've seen it actually done as a play.
Oh, you said 12 Angry Jurors. Yes, it's very fun. It's a fun play. It's a fun movie too. It's all about why we have to have the whole reasonable doubt thing when we have trials. It's very cool.
Yeah.
But in this episode of Courage, in Mission to the Sun, they go on a little trip, and it turns out that little trip is into space, which is a hell of a timeshare. Also, I have many questions as to why NASA's outsourcing very large missions to people that might have to do
an elderly couple.
What was the Bruce Willis movie? Was it Armageddon?
Oh, where they get all the miners to go mine the asteroid and plant a bomb.
They take like one astronaut, that's it.
One astronaut, a bunch of diggers.
Take one regular astronaut, and they take like 9 miners who all have like criminal backgrounds and drug addictions and shit.
They're the only ones that can mine this rock.
And one of them's in love with Liv Tyler, who's playing Bruce Willis's daughter, and that one's Ben Affleck.
And one of them has given up on living and wants the world to die with him.
Here's the side that I'll do. Super exploitive of what's her name in that movie? Tyler.
Liv Tyler?
Liv Tyler, yeah. Super just playing on the fact that she is just extremely attractive. Every part of her in that movie.
You know what's real fun though? She has the same face as her dad.
Yeah.
She has Steven Tyler's face. Now go back and watch Armageddon. Have fun.
Watch the scenes where her and Ben Affleck are really, really getting close to each other.
But yeah. Good Aerosmith song though.
Oh.
So in this, no, it's fine. We go to space. I have ice in my mouth. One moment.
We go to space.
Taylor puts ice in his mouth. Everything changes.
I thought I could crunch through it. It was much denser than I initially thought. And so they're sent. This is the weirdest thing, though. They're sent a flyer about a timeshare, and then it's like, fuck it, they can fix the sun.
And then it cuts to them just being in a spaceship.
Yep. And that's Eustace. Eustace is cranky, obviously. He bangs on a computer and turns it on. The general, the general, not the guy that sells your car insurance.
The general, also the national park ranger.
Shaq is doing those
explorer.
commercials now, right?
Yeah, I know.
Also the fuck, he's everything.
Like that character design is all over the place. Yeah, I like that Shaq is doing the general general insurance commercials now, because the last big commercial, besides like the Icy Hot stuff he was in, but the last commercial that I saw Shaq in was for Papa John's Pizza, because Papa said the N-word.
And Papa can't be in the commercials.
Why are you so wet, Papa?
Yeah, and so Shaq bought a bunch of franchises to, save Papa John's Pizza's image. So that was fun.
I think he did it more for the money, because Papa John's is like in the areas of the country where like, it would be awesome. There's a pizza place here, but also there's barely a McDonald's here.
Hey, I love Papa John's Pizza.
That's how I know, because you live in the middle of...
It's okay.
When I was in Top City and lived there, I would order Papa John's Pizza because it was the best pizza joint in that entire freaking...
Why are you so wet, Taylor?
If you wanted a pizza, if you wanted a good pizza delivered to your house, that was the best one in that area.
And when I was living in Leavenworth, Kansas, which is every day I learned something new about Leavenworth, Kansas, which is not a good thing. Like the amount of serial killers and other hitmen and crazy other fucking people that live there.
You're gonna walk by 500 serial killers in your life. It's fine.
I lived across the street from that federal prison. But
your numbers might be a little higher than the average.
Yeah,
so.
Tim's playing professional numbers.
There was no Papa John's there, but there was Domino's and Pizza Hut. So I just assumed that they pushed Papa John's out of the market there.
No, see, Papa John's is like actually higher.
Papa
John's is a higher tier.
Papa John's.
They only go into certain areas.
When I grew up in Derby, Kansas, south of Wichita, which is where I'm living now. And there was a Papa John's and a Pizza Hut always. And then Domino's came to town. And I don't know if it was the new factor of Domino's, but like they completely obliterated Papa John's.
But Papa John's is the good garlic butter dipping sauce.
Well, yeah, I'll give you that. But we can all agree that Papa Murphy's, the 3 places that are still open for it, probably
that take and bake's pretty okay.
It's fine.
If you want like a pizza that you feel is like not as bad for you, that's a good choice.
Papa Murphy's.
All right, we got to talk about the moon, or nope, the sun now. So the general comes. Yeah, the general comes on and says, and says that the sun is going to go out.
Good luck.
You are the only ones that can do it. Everything you need is in that briefcase. And then they just kind of don't do anything for a long time. I guess they're flying towards the sun.
They have 2 hours until they make it to the sun, or until the sun goes out. I couldn't figure out.
Yeah,
that is unclear.
It was the sun going out. That's the clock was. Because as soon as he gets
then the general cut it close with their fucking predetermined fucking
situation. And like the message from the general, half of it was that, then the other half of it was just random like gibberish. Did either of you guys notice that, or am I like having a stroke?
I think Eustace smashed things on the keyboard, and then that fucked up the message. I think that's what happened.
And that's when we and then the rest of the episode from there on is them traveling to the sun, and Courage like fucking with the computer and
Gooey Louie trying to take over.
Yeah, we're getting there.
So I brought up this too while we were watching it. So the premise of the movie War Games is that Matthew Broderick's character, who's also maybe the same character from Ferris Bueller.
Not the same. It's not the same person. They're two different. It's 2 different movies. It's
I know.
Stop doing this.
There is a theory where it's the same, basically the same.
Just because you made the theory doesn't mean I do this.
Hey,
God damn it! It has 4 upvotes.
You have to believe in your theory before anyone else will.
That's right. It has 4 upvotes on Reddit, so I think it's pretty mainstream by now. But Word Games is that Matthew Broderick's character gets a computer that is also the computer for it's not NASA.
No, he's able to hack into it. It's not the same computer.
Okay.
He just hacks into the computer.
But he
watch War Games?
Not recently.
No.
I was waiting for no. But
no, I've seen it, just not within the last 5 years.
He hacks into a government system to dick around, and he accidentally activates the AI protocol that's going to launch all the nuclear weapons.
Yeah.
It's very fun. And then they have to play chess.
Yeah.
I like
chess. The 80s were weird.
Well, that's the computer just wanted to play chess. The AI just wanted.
Yeah.
But it just reminds me of that because it's the same computer Courage has at home. So I would like the fan theory that Courage is actually talking to a AI that is running the United States of America's nuclear program.
I don't know why they were like all computers must talk the same, apparently.
They have to have this same voice.
Yeah, and so that
the
goes
AI
on.
has already entered the internet. We're all doomed. It's fine.
Yeah.
And Muriel and Eustace are just kind of milling about. Eustace loses his hat in a space toilet. He's trying to get that out for the entire episode.
Been there, brother.
And Muriel's just kind of doing general space things. When suddenly, we kind of see on the outside of the plane, the spacecraft, this thing.
This little worm.
It's a space worm, I guess, is what they call it. I thought it was just like a virus, but it's definitely a space worm. He's got a space helmet. And he cuts into the ship again. That's a bigger problem. And then he floats around and finds Muriel bending over, fixing part of the spaceship. And that was weird that he flew directly at the ass and began drilling a hole in her suit.
Yeah, there's a lot of sexual.
Gotta drill into that ass.
Yeah.
And then there's after that, there's a scene where we get a close up of him entering her system, which again, that's why I thought he was a virus.
Oh, it's so gross. Yeah.
He pulls a long white hair out from her butt and then flies in and puts it back. And that was the moment we all went, these episodes are weird, guys.
Man.
And
I just turned to the guys and went, guys, I'm done. I'm just gonna lie down for a little bit.
Yeah, I think when we were collectively watching it, even in the footage I have of that, we're just like, oh, why?
Yeah.
Why are we doing this?
It was a time. And then we cut to them eating space dinner through tubes, and we get a close up of the little space worm plunking away at the control panel in Muriel's brain, and he makes her just kind of go crazy cuckoo.
Wiki wiggly winterboard.
That was said. Halifax was thrown in there at one point in time.
That's right, yeah, Halifax.
And then it's just the rest of the episode is the worm controlling Muriel and Courage trying to figure out what's wrong with Muriel and how to fix the sun when he gets there. And so Muriel goes insane. She grows hair. She loses hair. She grows a beard. She walks across the ceiling.
It is the second
assaults
time
Eustace.
she loses her hair.
Yes.
Mm.
She bites through the ship's or the electronic wiring of the ship, causing the computer to go down. Yeah.
Series.
She bites through an air pipe connected to the Eustace to the spaceship as he's trying to pull his hat out. He gets lost in space. That's fun. Courage confronts Muriel, and then the brain worm, Mustafa. That's a long name for a character.
Okay, so you're gonna pull that. Okay, I was wondering if we're gonna wait till we get the trivia to talk about his fucking name, 'Cause
Yeah.
for some,
Motherfucker doesn't have a name.
Yeah, he does apparently.
apparently he's not named in the episode. This is literally on the wiki his name.
And so I don't know. I guess that could be his name. I assume it would be.
Oh my Christ, he has like a longer IMDb. He has a longer fandom page in this whole fucking episode.
Yeah.
Jesus.
I don't like this.
Yeah.
It turns out this series was supposed to be about him, and then Courage came along. And
Mustafa al-Bacterius. That's his name.
I might have to go back and watch and see if he says his fucking name.
He does
ever.
not.
He
does
doesn't.
not.
He doesn't say his name.
He doesn't say. Oh wait, he does actually say his name.
Does he say it?
So when
he's
he
greeting him?
when he gets rid of Eustace, shoots Eustace out of the side because Eustace went out to pull his hat out of the sewage pipe or whatever on the ship. He cuts Eustace off, and Eustace goes flying. And then he's controlling Muriel, and he goes to Courage and says his name. I am Mustaphas al-Bacterius, and I am here to stop you on your mission to save the sun or whatever.
Bacterius. Yes.
We like it dark.
Yes, he does. All right. I guess I missed that. Probably because I was still reeling from the gerbil episode.
But if the sun goes out, everyone's dead, right?
I mean, yeah, probably.
No, apparently not them, right? They said they like it.
That's the whole point, is because of space.
Okay.
And then they have a fun little fight, and Courage tries to extract the space worm, but it just doesn't really work. And then he's stuck. Yeah, and then they fight, and her head gets stuck in the toilet. And Courage uses the toilet to suck the worm into space.
And it brings out when her head is finally pulled out of there.
That
it's
warped.
The grossest,
Why did they make her head like that?
Grossest fucking. That is. I remember this episode from when I was younger, and I was thinking that was fucking weird.
Weird, yeah. And then they get to the sun. They land the ship on the sun. And it melts, and Courage runs down into the depths of the sun to replace a light bulb.
There's
a real fun part in the episode where, as he unplugs the light bulb, the screen goes dark.
Yeah.
And then he plugs it back in, and it's all fine again. And then they're stuck on the sun until Eustace... Yeah, and then Eustace comes by with his asteroid that he somehow landed on, and Courage uses his grappling space anchor to get onto that. And then it ends with them just hanging out on Mars.
I still think the space grapple hook that's also his anchor. Like, it's established he has that anchor, but it's not established those suits had a fucking grapple hook. That's a fucking...
Hey, man. It wasn't the suit. It was Courage's own invention. He did it.
There you go.
he built it in that 10 seconds we weren't looking at him.
Yes, he's the MacGyver.
Okay, I can see that.
And then we're on Mars, and then Eustace starts acting weird, and we get a fun little inside of his brain, which shows the
bacteria.
Because I haven't even begun to
fight, so fuck you.
Yes, it was a good John Paul Jones reference. It was very fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's that episode. Again, I think it's more straightforward now that I'm thinking about it.
But like this part where we talked about the worm, there's a good 8 minutes of exposition like before that is just kind of slow and nothing. Because there's
a lot of times where they go back to that clock and it's like, we still got 2 hours.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, they keep showing the clock like it's some kind of sense of emergency, but in a cartoon, you don't really get that.
It's not like there's going to be real 2 hours going by.
Yeah, it's just like, this all happens within 2 hours. You mean Eustace is in the crapper for like 2 hours? Muriel's working on that ship that they don't use later, and is somehow in a cargo hold of a ship that doesn't have a cargo hold. Yeah, there's a lot.
I mean, the sun's going to go out, though, Tim. Shut up.
Yeah, and he replaces the light bulb that is the sun. So there is something I did want to bring up.
Uh-huh.
We are living in the age of conspiracy theories and fake truth.
We've been
Yeah.
living in the age of conspiracy
It's been a
theories
while,
and
but
fake
yeah.
truths
Do
for
you
like
think
50
this is-
years.
Do you think that this is Cohen and Dilworth trying to tell everybody that the CIA has been to the sun before and they replaced the sun with a big light bulb that can,
I'm going to go
power-
ahead and sandbag you and say no. But
The CIA can't even replace dictators properly without shit going poorly.
Yeah. No, yeah. I'll give you that.
like everybody wants to believe that the government's in charge of everything. I don't think our government can actually control anything, but
I will tell you, I was listening to a podcast, and this is super off topic, but the podcast is all about, did the CIA write the song "The Winds of Change" by the Scorpions?
The podcast is called Wind of Chains. It's amazing, and the answer could potentially very much be yes.
Yes, it could be. I don't know. I don't think so. I think that he wrote it, and then
but
they
that's
won't-
the kind of
they
that's again
used
the
it.
kind of thing that the CIA is really good at, is that type of stuff.
Well, yeah, but I really think that maybe he just wrote it, but it wasn't going to be as big of a hit, or maybe they weren't even going to use it in an album.
Maybe.
And then the
they went,
CIA
"Hey."
heard it and was like, "Whoa, hey!"
I don't know. Everyone should listen to that podcast, by the way. It's phenomenal.
So really, I just finished it yesterday. It was really good.
It is great. We will not talk about it anymore from here on out because I'll spoil the whole thing for anyone who wants to listen to
Oh,
it.
no, stop.
It's really good. Do you guys want to hear some trivia for this episode?
Of
Oh,
course.
I would just love to.
There's quite a few. There's 5 bullet points here. So this
Oh.
episode marks the only time Courage interacts with a computer whilst not in the farmhouse. Incidentally, the computer's voice is the same as Courage's computer.
What a
Yeah.
trip.
I want to point out that may not be true.
Yeah, I don't know.
Where the computer takes over Muriel's body, and
Yeah, I think there's a
Oh.
couple other times where he interacts with just basic computers that are not in the farmhouse. But we'll
not the computer, Tim.
we will point that out when it happens, because I'm fairly sure that happens again. But this is the second consecutive time that Muriel goes bald. Thank you for having that attached to the same fucking episode. That was the only trivia for the last episode, the A part of this episode, and it's on the B part as well.
Man,
Uh,
trivia is good sometimes.
Yeah. Mustafa al-Bacterius looks a lot like Hard Drive Virus from Hard Drive Courage, and they both share the same voice actor. So Hard Drive Courage is a later episode.
Which I think just shows that it's probably a virus. Like, I think that's the whole joke, is it's literally like a
Computer
bug.
virus.
Yeah. And also in cartoons, they will use a bug to actually show a virus for computer viruses and stuff
Yeah.
like that.
Or
No, go.
yeah, or octopuses.
Yeah, they will. Yep.
I have no idea why I said that, because I just watched an episode of another cartoon where it was just a bunch of octopuses. I won't go into that, because who knows.
Talking about fetishes.
Mm.
By the way, that's the same voice actor that they used in English and Japanese. Apparently. The music used in this episode is Blue
I want to watch
Danube.
I want to watch a Courage the Cowardly Dog episode in Japanese now.
Sounds like a good April Fool's Day episode. The music used in this episode is Blue Danube, made famous by 2001: A Space Odyssey. The piece was also used in SpongeBob SquarePants episode Jellyfishing in Squidward and Clarinet Land.
I mean, yeah.
The,
It's a great old classical piece there.
this
Can
episode
I-
shares its music with Head of Beef as well. That's
Do you have any extra salt? No. Can you go check? No.
I do want to point out, like I said earlier, the Mustafa al-Bacterius wiki page is fucking huge.
Yeah.
He also has trivia.
We don't need it.
We don't need that. Not at the moment. Maybe.
I like
Go
how
read it. It's fun.
I'm only going to point out a couple. I think there's one that's just stupid. He's a bit similar to Plankton from SpongeBob SquarePants, as both are tiny organisms that have controlled the brain of a major character.
Besides that, no.
Nothing. There's literally nothing. He's the smallest villain of the saga, too. And apparently he was defeated but didn't die. Which, technically, none of the villains have died. But
yeah.
Anyways, that is the trivia for this episode. Sorry to bring you all down.
Yeah, no, it's fine.
Just hearing you guys, it's just like, wow, you did that.
No, it's not like that at all, Tim. Anyway,
I'll take Taylor's silence as it is.
it's trivia is stupid sometimes. That's all.
You just listen to trivia and you go.
Also, here's the last little thing from the fandom page. The air date was February 22nd, 2K01.
Well, good for them. I'm glad they did it that way.
I don't know why. Every other episode is 2000, but this is 2K01.
Well, just in case.
So, wanted to score this baby?
Let's do it.
Man, I don't know. Why doesn't Taylor go first? Taylor, I'm gonna pull you into the crossfire.
I think it's a good. I think it's a 3.5 out of 5 space toilets.
Okay.
Because it's not a bad episode. I just think that when you compare it to the first one that we watched, this one's just better.
It's Dr. World.
Yeah.
The first one's just better, yeah. So there you go.
Yeah, I will give this a 3 brain levers out of 5. I think it's better than the worst episodes in the series.
Yeah.
But it does have a lot of moments where it's just kind of.
It's not as bad as Cajun Granny Stew, but
it'll never be.
I mean, I didn't hate that episode. You guys did.
Yeah, we'll keep bringing that up. Don't worry. I'm gonna give it 3 Deus Ex Meteors out of 5 because it's just sort of. It's okay. I'm not mad that I watched it.
Right.
And it's Doc Gerbil's World, which I will probably be remembering for the rest of the week.
Yeah.
And life. If Dilworth did his part.
There you go. Well, and I think that draws us to a close of yet another Liquid Courage podcast.
Yeah.
It's been
yes. Thank you for joining us. It's been fun. Be sure to follow us over on the Twitters with at liquid_pod, and we will be here hopefully next month with another fun episode, as long as things stay good. So
knock on wood, everybody.
Yeah, stay safe.
Yeah, be careful. Have a good night.
Good night.
Good night.
Or good day, whenever you listen to this. Good you.
Fuck you. Bye.
Good on you.
That was the Liquid Courage Podcast. An in-depth look every episode of Courage the Cowardly Dog. On the next episode, we check out Courage the Fly and Cat's Candy. Music was provided by Visionless. You can find them at www.soundcloud.com/VISIONL3SS. We do not own the rights to Courage the Cowardly Dog. Until next time, have a wonderful night.
What's the matter with you? Haven't you ever seen a lady before? They're doing terrible things over there.